Hey guys, welcome back to AJ's Animal Fix. Exciting episode today. Can't wait to show you guys what is in store. Stay tuned. So today we have some new spiders in the spider room, starting off with the Venezuelan green bottle blue, or the Chromatopelma cyanopubescens. Little tough one to say with the Latin name there, but just a gorgeous, gorgeous spider. We're gonna go ahead and jump back in time a few weeks ago when I first picked her up and how I set up that terrarium. Also on the board today, we're gonna check back in with our little guy, the Chilobrachys fimbriatus, probably one of my most exciting spiders, but definitely the smallest. Then we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the tiniest, newest, babyest species to the room, the jumping spiders. I'm really excited about this one. It's been so fun to watch people keep them online. They're all over my backyard, so I figure they're plentiful. Let's scoop some up from outside, try raising them up, and see what happens. Also, I've got a surprise ending, so stick around to the end. One of my tarantulas finally did something pretty special, and I want you guys to check it out. I'm really excited about this enclosure. Now, I'm not going to do a full-blown care guide and husbandry guide for the species, as it is brand new to me. This tarantula is technically a terrestrial species, although some hobbyists might claim that they're semi-arboreal, and this is because they will utilize a ground burrow, but they'll also come up and web up the enclosure. You can see at the front of my enclosure here, it doesn't look like there's a lot of substrate. That's because I actually have it graded from low to high in the back. This is just for aesthetic purposes. You can see that this is going to be the front of the terrarium, but as I turn this, you can see that the soil really starts to build up in the back here. There's about 4 inches. This white stuff right here is just a sticker that wouldn't come off, so I used the back side as the tall part of the soil. This is a spider that's going to utilize anchor points to form its web and construct its web around. So another reason they might be considered semi-arboreal, they'll come up on these branches, web them up, but mostly they'll live tucked away down in their little hide or their burrow. So what you can see, what I've done here is I've taken various pieces of mopani wood, and then this is just some stuff that I've collected over time, and I've created like a spiraled rotting tree. I think it looks just so cool, so aesthetically pleasing. The spider will have a lot of different opportunities here. There's a couple pockets in the back, there's pockets in the front. This is a more arid species, so you don't need to keep this super damp. You definitely do not want a swampy enclosure. Just try to get some water down into the bottom layer of the substrate. Now this is a New World species, so it does have urticating setae. You've got to keep that in mind. He's just coming out of his juvenile patterning. You can see on the abdomen there, the blotchy orange and black, and then he's got that beautiful green on the carapace, and then those blue legs. This is just a gorgeous spider. I'm actually really excited to get one at this stage, basically a juvenile. Let's go ahead and walk her carefully into her new enclosure, maintaining some contact. You can see she's a little bit reluctant. We're just maintaining the contact the whole time. And there we go, no hairs kicked. And you can see she immediately went down to the side here. You can see the spider's all scrunched up. She's in a little corner. She has no idea where she's at or what to expect. She's been in that little cup from the pet store for a while now, so it's gonna take her some time to explore. As you can see, there's plenty of corners in here. All kinds of places that she can hide and start her new little home. I'm very excited. It's a very appropriate sized enclosure to start out with this juvenile. Can pretty much spend its whole life in here in case I ever decide to upgrade it into something better. I can definitely do that, give her more space to move around, but for now, this is pretty good. I've got my Chilobrachys fimbriatus, which has just molted. And it was so beautiful to see because it literally like doubled in size. I'm not kidding you. And it's been about 3 or 4 days and she's definitely ready to eat.
Round 1, Fight!
So this is actually the first time that I'm going to try feeding a live prey item to this small, tiny sling. I think he might be ready for it. I'm not too sure. You can see he's creeping up, and right there, he went ahead and just slapped his pedipalps.
Round 2. Fight!
Basically showing that he's not very into the situation. It's more of a defensive threat. He's got his threat posture up right there. He's got the legs and the pedipalps raised. So I think at this moment in time, he's more interested in fighting the cricket. He's a little too intimidated to take it down. So maybe we were a little quick to assume that he'd be ready for a cricket of this size. He's definitely interested. He's hungry. He just feels more threatened by the moving insects. So we're going to go ahead and help him out here. Crush the head of the cricket. Just go ahead and euthanize that real quick.
Final round. Fight!
Drop it in there and let him get it on his own time. So you can see we set up a time lapse here. This was over the course of maybe like 40 minutes. And he's happily eating his cricket. At this stage, they're very much scavengers, and they will find items like this. So if they don't take the live items, just go ahead, kill it, leave it in there. I have a series of jumping spiders that are really exciting, and these were actually acquired in my neighborhood, so they're local to me. We've got the regal jumping spider, we've got the tan jumping spider, bold jumping spider. I haven't actually identified these yet. They were pretty small when I picked them up. So I do have some fruit flies here that we're gonna try to feed those. So I love these containers. I actually got them from Walmart, and you can find them in the art section. They're actually little paint containers. And the reason I like them as opposed to the little jars that you'll see me using is I can actually take a thumbtack and poke my own ventilation holes in the side, not just the top of the lid. You can see this guy here just woke up pretty quickly here. He's got all these bugs flying around his enclosure. It's going to take him a little bit of time to adjust them being in there, but he should start hunting pretty quickly. You can see he's just kind of observing and checking everything out. I want to explain to you guys how I prepare my fruit flies, because it can be a little intimidating when you get that cup full of crazy flies. Basically, life hack, you want to put them in the fridge or the freezer. If you're going to put them in the fridge, an hour at most. Freezer like 5 to 10 minutes, because they can die. But you just get them a little bit cold and they go completely limp. You're able to dump a few out on a piece of paper like I have here, and I just shuffle them into a little vial. Now I will warn you, you only have like 10 to 15 seconds before they wake up. So you do want to be a little bit quick. You do not want fruit flies getting out in your house and procreating and all that stuff, so that if they do get out, just crush them. Right here you can see an awesome takedown. This little guy is hungry. You can tell by his small abdomen. So we're just going to move along here and get some fruit flies in all my little jumping spider containers. I have 6 total. This is probably my smallest spider. I believe this one is a tan jumping spider, but again, I won't really be able to identify these properly for another couple instars or another couple molts. So we'll see what's going on pretty soon, but they're just everywhere outside. I mean, I got these 6 spiders in a course of like a week and a half, just not even really looking for them. Each time I walk in the back door of my house, I'll usually see them around the perimeter. So we scooped them up just as an experiment here to see if we can raise these guys up into some healthy adults. This is an example of a fruit fly capture gone wrong. You can see I spilled out way too many flies to begin with, and I completely missed the vial right here. So they started spilling onto the table, and then they started waking up pretty fast. Like I said, you only have like 10 seconds. So you can see on the table here, they're already starting to scurry along. And then in my sort of panic here, I decide to try to pick them up rather than closing the vial on the fruit flies that were already in there. So I probably lost like 5 or 6. If this happens, just go ahead and squish them. I know it's sad, but they're going to die anyways, being fed to the spider. And again, you just don't want those out and about in your house. The last thing you want is fruit flies in your kitchen. So you can see here, I'm dumping the flies into these jars. I've got holes poked on the top, just barely big enough for ventilation, but not big enough for the fruit flies or the spider to get out. I noticed that all of my jumping spiders eventually ate, but I couldn't get many takedowns on camera. They were a little bit camera shy, and it took them some while to hunt and get things figured out. It's kind of funny. I pulled this bigger one back and realized she had a fly and she dropped it. So I kind of scared her, and it's kind of funny, she like threw it away, but I just left them all alone and they seem to eat just fine. I can't wait to watch these guys grow up and give you guys updates on what they look like and what they are. So we're back here over at the spider rack, and we're going to check up on our Chromatopelma cyanopubescens, otherwise known as the Venezuelan green bottle blue. As you can see here, she's done quite a bit of webbing. She started in this top left corner and worked her way to the bottom right corner, and then ultimately settled in the front right corner. I believe this spider isn't pre-molt because of the silk hammock that she's built herself. You can see that there's no way to get in from the top or bottom, and she's just been sitting in that position for about a week now, and she has taken no food whatsoever. So we'll wait and see what she does. But speaking of pre-molt, I want to touch back on one of my favorite spiders, one of my first spiders, my T. albopilicis, or the Nicaraguan curly hair tarantula. Basically, this tarantula buried herself in her lair probably about a month ago. And I'm not even kidding you. If you have a tarantula that does this, please do not dig it up. What the spider's doing is it's shutting down its feeding response. It has all the food that it needs. It doesn't need to wander around. It's all good to go for molt. So what they'll do is they'll climb down in their lair and they'll actually blockade all the entrances. And it can be a little freaky because, number one, tarantulas can be slow moving with their activity. They may be doing a whole bunch one day and then they may sit for a few days. So she blocked herself down in her lair. She sat there for about a week, and then she started moving around a little bit, and then sat there for about a week. And then just a couple days ago, I came up to check on some of my other spiders, and I was so happy to find her actually molting. Now, we don't have the best view of this molt because it's all the way down in its tunnel, but we're very, very excited to have this little sliver into what's going on. You can see the tarantula here is making these little pumping motions. These are spaced out through about 3 to 5 minutes. Obviously, this video is sped up. I would say that this whole chunk of filming that took place here was about an hour. The tarantula was able to finish the process overnight when I went to bed. I couldn't get the best angle of it anyways, and basically what you're seeing here is the tarantula completely on its back, and it has pushed most of the old exoskeleton off of itself. We're just kind of seeing the final process here before it stretches out and flips over. So very, very cool to see. A tarantula molting is just a bizarre process. It looks like a whole bunch of tarantulas tangled up in there because of how much hair and all the legs, and it's just amazing. So you can expect a rehousing for this little girl pretty soon here. I want to get her out of the critter cage and get her into a more official setup, something that we can examine her a little bit better in, maybe show her off a little bit. So very exciting news on that front. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this content, if you like the video, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. There'll be more videos. Keep tuning in. I'll see you next time.